So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Live Saga TV for you. Welcome to Live Saga community. Let's get on the politics of Kenya and any other part of the world, guys. You know, there are those people who are always working with us. So I'm giving you some time to come on board, and then we start this out. But if people delay, we'll just have to go on. So, of course, Gachagua. Gachagua trying to say that he is a different tribe. What did he mean with that? For the time being, what did he mean exactly with that? Every day to transform the way we bring videos to life. As a fully remote agency, whiteboards let us collaborate in real time. So Gachagua today was hard on Raila Odinga, and this is what he had to say. We have a health system that works. And you guys, when we form a new administration, we rely upon you to come and work with us and help us put in place a working healthcare system to access university education. The economy has come to a standstill. Pending bills have not been paid for 3 years. People who did work for government are being auctioned. Because history informs the present, and the present informs the future. The scars of Guys, Gachagua is talking about history informing the future, and the president is the future. And I'm like, all right, don't you have history, Gachagua? We're gonna ask you very soon or later whether what caused your impeachment, if not what you tell us, is also part of the story as to why you are impeached. Were you really given shares? Because we want to know, if you are the kind of president who will continue with shares, then that will be too dangerous for the country. If you are the kind of president who will only represent one tribe, then that will be too dangerous for Kenya. Now let's come back here and listen partly to what Gachagua said. As the colonial government was very brutal. Brutal as they were, they never attacked children. Even the difficult years of the Moi rule of 24 years, that government, by President Moi, persecuted men. They never touched children and women. This is unprecedented. It has never happened in the history of Kenya. No government, no leader has ever turned against children. They are in pain. And I've come here to share with you that pain so that even as you are miles and miles away from home. So guys, since Gachagua went to America, he has been giving news after news, news after news. And of course, you heard yesterday Murkomen, not yesterday, but was it Friday? Murkomen saying that we have joked for too much. And Gachagua has a statement to write. Now, we are waiting for that moment because Gachagua actually dared them. But I just listen sometimes to Gachagua and say, I hope what you're saying is truly what you represent, because Kenyans, we have become kind of people, we talk about this today, tomorrow we do a very different stuff. You know, we live in an ironical situation. Today you are poor, you say that you will praise the Lord and do a lot of miracles and help a lot of people and do, you know, all that has to be done. But once you come into the office and you are now rich, tables turn and you begin singing a different song. So I'm not quite sure. Of late, I'm not quite sure about our leaders, guys. So very few leaders in Kenya have actually done the representation we expect. From the grassroots, the ward representatives, the women rep. In fact, currently I can't tell what role the women rep has. You come to the MPs, they talk and talk during, rallies. But when they come to the office, it's a different environment, guys. And currently, the reality is, to tell you the truth, we are hustling. A lot of us have loans that we can't pay for. You come to, let's say, the virtual
loans. A lot of Kenyans have a lot of loans and they cannot pay back, because you find that 30 days are very limited time. You start a business, you cannot sell as expected. Maybe a business that was selling actually daily, maybe 1,000, now it's selling only 50 shillings or 100 shillings per day, and you have bills to cover, you have things to cover, and it has become a problem, you know. Hana Njuguna, welcome. Hi, karibu sana, Hana Njuguna, welcome on board. So, in a revelation today, Gachagua came up and said, I'm not Kikuyu. I think he's trying to buy that narrative of representing the Kenya at large. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's get to listen more before we come to the poisoning at State House, guys.
To an end, and we were never able to speak again until he mobilized resources and bribed members of parliament and senate to hold me out of office because I had publicly called him out for killing our young children. So I come here to tell you that you have a lot of influence back home. You cannot be silent when our young children are being killed. They are away as a family. And now all the cousins are talking the same language. So I saw Tinga the other day crying about cousins. He was crying in a funeral. Instead of mourning the late Phoebe Asio, he was mourning the loss of cousins from his grave. Because these cousins were Bechanuka.
All right, that is the opinion by Gachagua. He's very humorous sometimes. Very humorous, you know. Quite humorous sometimes. So he's saying that Raila Odinga was mourning the loss of cousins in the ODM instead of the loss of cousins, the late in the funeral. All right, it is what it is. So that is from US. Let's come back to Kenya and talk about some stuff. You know, remember Harambee Stars were promised, were given a very handy promise, right? You remember what the president did? Let's check on this.
Needs to keep his word.
Let's just check on this.
To this fella.
Mimi nimetoka hapa ndani Kasarani, watch ball ya Kenya na Morocco. Ile kitu nimeona na nitasema leo, mtu akienda majuu huyo mtu aende akiendaga. Wachague best players kutoka kwa ligi ya Kenya ambao wachaguliwe the best 15 waingizwe kwa uwanja. Hii vijana wamecheza ball. Watu wanasema ati Kenya ina defend. Hakuna defense walikuwa wanacheza. Walikuwa wanafanya man on. Na wakipata ball walikuwa wanapasuka. Vijana wako na mbio mzee. Wanakimbia kama farasi. Paka madefender wanachanganyikiwa, wanashtukia ni net. Imagine tuko mtu 10 na bado tumehold Morocco. Morocco was number 4 World Cup. Most of the players wenye wamecheza hapa ndani ni wenye walicheza World Cup.
All right, that is Kenya for us, and I hope that Kenyan players will continue playing as expected. Now with Nick gone, because they gave him a red card with complaints about Nick conditions, you know, training, the team and all that. Now we have a new person on board, and therefore we have new stuff going on. We have wins for Kenya. You know, when Kenyans were being promised by the Kenyan president that they'll have 600 million, they thought it was a joke. In fact, many people, when you listen to the studios, they started saying that what if they'll be demoralized and fail to work towards the goal? Surprisingly, they have surprised the president. Let's see this promise, and I hope he'll keep the promise, because if he continues with nitatenga, nitafanya, it will be bad for him. Because possibly, the players have a very huge message, and every Kenyan is watching, and not just Kenyans, everybody else who listen to the promise is watching and waiting whether the president will now actually meet the goal, or rather do what he promised. Ama itakuwa tena hadithi ya nitatenga, nitafanya. Let's watch what he said.
Lakini nimebadilisha, nikasema mkimaliza finals pesa yenu itakuwa imefika 200 million, lakini nimebadilisha nikasema mkimaliza finals pesa yenu yote itakuwa 600 million. Our team,
now remember immediately immediately the president said this, the richest man, one of the richest man in Kenya, who was the former governor of Nairobi, came up with a message. And here is what he had to say. Let's listen to this also. Let's listen to this, guys.
And here's Mike Sonko's pledge.
So mimi nitasindikisha His Excellency the President. I want our team to emerge victorious.
Now, guys, if you listen to that two, whom do you believe will actually fulfill the promise? Who is going to fulfill the promise so far? Now, the game was conducted and Kenya had a win, as you just heard. Yeah, you just heard that from the guy here. I can replay that again. And he is attesting that Kenya has the best players. And if they are supported, they will do a lot of, miraculous football stuff. Let's go back to this one here. Of course, somebody, Frank Mtetezi, said, the moral from you, President William Ruto, keeps the boys moving. Congratulations, Harambee Stars. It's another 1 million for you players. Morocco has promoted you to the quarterfinals. Viva Chan 2024. All right? Look, so let's listen to this guy again.
Kastua madifendo wa Morocco akavuka juu. Kuruka juu akachanganyikiwa, akapea pass mwenzake. Alivyompea akashtua kipa akamwagika. Wacha asukume kitu.
The guy is actually twisting the mouth and doing all the stuff to make us understand the mathematics, guys. Now, let's get to see also something that happened during the game. During the game, there is something that happened. People had paid for tickets, but they were not allowed into the field, and they had to force themselves in. There's a video here. I don't know what is.
Other things that
I don't know whether it's this or the other. Let me just check for footage and find out. Yeah, so people had to force themselves into the field, and we may not blame them, guys, because if people pay to go watch the match, then why should they have to go through a lot of stuff before they can watch the game, you know? So let me just check on history and take you there. Of course, it must be this video here. I hope it's this. Where is this? I want that video showing the Kenyans invading the field. I think it's this, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it's this.
let's get after it.
Not really.
It's not just the riot police, even
I want to see that Kenyans invading the field. I'm trying to look for that part. Must be this. Why is this confusing me, guys? But of course, all of you have been on board, you know. I'm so sorry for this delay, but I'm going to play it very, very soon, guys, because I know it was there. So sometimes you play videos, then they get lost while you're doing the thing, and it's quite normal. This is quite normal, but unexpected. I think it's this. So can you imagine Kenyans paying for tickets, then they have to force themselves through the fence? I saw that somewhere. I don't know why I'm not getting it that fast. Funny enough, sometimes when you want to actually now show this, Mark Morimi, it's Kenyan spirit. The Kenyan spirit to jump over fences and, and join the team. It is what it is. Sometimes it's a bad thing to pay for ticket. I remember there is a time we used to pay for tickets for performances like reg and all that. And then we go to the place, we have a lot of interrogations, a long queue. I think it's this, really. You have a long queue. There's a lot of, processes you have to go through again, and you've paid for the ticket in advance. So sometimes you get so tired and you have to invade, I think it's this one here. Is it?
I think based on that,
I've lost it, but I'll get it anyway. But as we go on, imagine, but it paid off with a win. All right, of course, Harambee Stars had to win. I don't know, is it possibly because of the people who jumped over the fence and got in? They had their, they had their tickets, and nobody was quick to allow them into the field. And so they decided that whichever way, we're gonna get there, and people had to invade. And of course, if there are any repairs, no worries. If the president can give each player 1 million, we believe there is money around. It's only that maybe for some people in some fields or careers cannot access that money, but there is money in Kenya, because for each player to get 1 million, and we are seeing Mike Sonko has more in the house than we really have the Kenyan spirit, as Mark Murimi is saying here. So let's just see how the people of Kenya. All right, the best is that Kasongo is the one to pay. Kasongo is the one to pay, and we are hoping he does, because if he fails to pay, there is a message that is being sent here. What if the team now turns against him? What if the message now that goes across the country is that he doesn't keep promises? So we really hope that he's going to do it for once and for all, because we are used to his promises. But now this one should be a serious one. He should take it seriously and not just a joke to pass, to make us believe that we can do it and he doesn't. I hope he knew very well that the kitty has the money, even though capitation is not there for the students. We don't have enough in the budget, but at least that one is there, right? If he denies the schools, let him give to the players so that we have the balance. We meet at somewhere. Yeah. Now, remember, guys, maybe I'll be coming to that story later once I get the video. But let's go to the aspect of attending State House empowerment. Women empowerment, guys. Women empowerment. I think Lara Madoa did play that. Yeah, Lara Madoa captured that, so we'll be getting to it. All right, it's here. Here it is. That's Kenyans for us. You saw how they invaded the field? Larry Madoa took that. Larry Madoa captured how fans had to force their way to the stadium. And of course, one of them said that it's not like they had not paid for the ticket, they had them, but they were being delayed, you know? I hope you've now seen that, that image or footage right there. Now, let's get to the aspect of women empowerment at State House, guys. So in Kenya, sometimes you may add 1 + 1. Teresa? The reality about the empowerment programs are filled with a lot of saga. A lot of saga. That's why we are doing this at Live Saga TV, because the saga in the every move about empowerment is just on another level. So guys, recently we saw people going to the empowerment program, right? Now this is what happened. A lot of people went there, but they rejected eating the food. And why did this happen? Let's look at this. Look at this. Now the youth are decrying having been paid 50 Kenyan shillings after attending the youth empowerment event at State House. Now that is just a voter bribery, an indirect voter bribery method in Kenya. And all of us know that most constituencies, we have now the MPs, the governors coming back to the people. Currently, that's what is happening. They are walking around in many places. I've been in Mias and I saw the MP was there. And he gave people 200 shillings on a queue and promised that he would pull electricity at Ekero to other sides. I also know different places in the country, and what is happening is that now politicians are turning back to the citizens as early as this, because of course it was said that constitutionally maybe elections should be held next year. It is what it is, guys. So politicians have decided that the best way to go is to bribe citizens early enough so that they don't lose votes. Now I want you to see this. Of course, I did a reaction on this, but I didn't capture this part. Now, young people went to State House. They were talked to. They spent the entire day there. Then, at the end of the day, they used the vehicles that had been paid for by the government to ferry them home. Typical Kenyan aspect, typical Kenyan spirit. Murimi told us that. Now, this is what happened on the way back. They had to turn back and say one time. Joining this lady that was blocked in her home. Yeah, so let's get here.
Huyu ni mkora kusema ametutoa Fuliza kutuambia sisi ni watu wenye analipa saa. Mchele iko na supu.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? These people in the morning, when you looked at the videos, what they were saying is 2 term. Later in the evening, they are being ferried in government vehicles, the ones the government has paid for, and they are saying 1 term for eating raw rice, for eating, I don't know, drinking water. Huyu ni mkora. Wakenya usicheze nao. They'll eat your food. They'll tell you are a mheshimiwa, and tomorrow you'll be voting for yourself, you and your family. You will even realize your wife cannot vote for you. That is typical Kenyan spirit, guys. Now, let's see this one. Relating to that footage of Parliament, not Parliament, but State House. Let's look at this message, guys, and tell me. Now, Cleopatra Wanjiku, 16 hours ago, this is what she had to post. He had to post. 1 minute you are chilling in State House, the next minute you are fighting for your life. Kumbe food poisoning can kill someone instantly. Leo nimeona vile kifo hukua karibu, I say. Of course, Kenya, it is what it is. I've known priests who don't eat in funerals, equally as they don't eat in weddings. They'll finish the ceremony and somehow they may just carry the water and go away with it. Now, funny enough, in this event, some young people refused even to take water. Or did they take water and refuse to take soda? I don't know. Somebody told me that you can inject poison into a bottle and still seal it. So no wonder the young people here refuse to take even soda. Let's check on this.
Nazitupa, hebu ona gabo. Wewe ona gabe. Safara tumemea kiburi. Hiyo ni gabo. Gabo yetu tunarogota hadi masoda.
Now, can you imagine that? Can you imagine that happening in Kenya? The young people went to State House, refused to take the sodas. For whatever reasons, we don't know. But now it turns out, from the message I've just read, I want you to look at this lady now that was posted. This lady, turns out that she was very fine at State House that day, sitting comfortably. But then, today it is what it is. She's battling with her life. She's on a drip because she had food poisoning after attending the State House meeting. So, you cannot be sitting at Bunge la Wananchi and saying that 1 term, then you go to State House and hope that you'll walk away happily. The reality is that sometimes you have to be cautious about food. I always warn even kids that food is the worst thing. It kills flies, just like we see them flying around and they end up dying in our cup of tea and we pour it away. So are human beings. Food is the worst thing ever. If you love food, sometimes you may have your life ending so fast, just as quick as the candle. And it is what it is. You can see it right here as to what happened at State House. Now, Kenyans have decided that abductions will not go on. They have put a red card to DCI abductions. And I want you to look at this footage here. Just look at this. It's not 1 or 2. Starting here. Yep.
What took place around the stadium and with it's not just the riot police, even bad drivers who are absent-minded on the road received red cards. Here's one such example.
Kenyans have decided to be in the field everywhere, and they are giving red cards to everybody, including those who are driving badly, including the police who want to mistreat them. So they are saying no to police brutality, right? Now let's get to a situation where there was a possible abduction that Kenyans put a red flag to. Let's check on this.
My Lord.
If this continues in Kenya, no abduction would be successful, guys. I hope Kenyan continue with that spirit, you know. This behavior of just abducting people anyhow and carrying them away should stop. It should be put to an end. If anybody has questions to answer, they don't have to be carried in such kind of cars, you know. They don't have to be.
Hawezi ingia kama hajui gari, anaingia aje gari hajui.
Thank God the neighbor stepped in. Now, anywho, that's all I had for you today. Now, to the
Guys, it's so funny. It's so funny at the same time. Guys, the next time anybody wants you to enter a vehicle you don't know, just shout. And I hope the neighbors will also step in for you. They'll be stepping in for you guys. Somebody recently told me that if there is anybody you have to befriend and actually, respect the border guys. If you respect them, they'll not allow something like this to happen to you anywhere. But I think Kenyans have become alert and they are putting red flags to DCI who want to abduct. And now you can see the officers were embarrassed and they were like, unapiga nduru ya nini? But then how do you just step in a car knowing that you will come back as Ojuan? You know? How? It's neither there nor there. So you better shout and look like a fool, but you will be safe, guys. My goodness. Such a fun. All right, so we are still deep into these stories. I saw another story that was actually looming. Let's look at this.
I think that's a good step.
yes.
And I don't think being in opposition means you oppose everything. I think the opposition...
What is
No,
coming out?
I think the opposition leaders should understand this is a good thing. But what they should be talking about is ensuring that William Ruto and his team and the cronies around him again use a good thing to loot.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, the looting that is happening in this government is epic. It's epic. You have seen the e-citizen thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how can anyone sit in office after the e-citizen revelation? In a society where we are truly interested in changing things, forget about these smoking machines that are being given out. That 9 billion, that money from e-citizen, we should not be, today we should only be talking about how are we getting back that money.
They've said since 2023, they fixed all the loopholes. No money has been lost.
So why are we being told about this e-citizen thing now?
Yeah.
If they fix the loopholes.
That's the
You
argument.
know me, my question is, every time I see empowerment, it's not that I don't want people to get borders or money.
Yeah.
Even myself, I would like to get a few borders. Why not? My issue is, where is this money coming from? Because you see, as a citizen, I can't be the same one complaining about being overtaxed, but then I keep quiet about also subject us with the plans. Because if it's the roads, we have been given the 2025-26 roads that are going to be maintained or built or whatever. There's a plan. So as any government program, there should be then a plan of empowerment. Even before Gachagua goes to Isiolo, then you follow him.
Right there. Guys, some things that happen in Kenya are beyond our understanding. But the reality is, the more they speak, the more confused we turn as Kenyans, because who is looting? When will the looting stop? No wonder times are very tough. For any common Kenyan, winning a bread on table is the hardest thing ever. And covering bills has become the toughest thing ever. As far as they're saying that things are being done, I can attest that I've been in business, but the last 2 years have been the toughest. That even if you take a loan from online platforms, you are unable to pay within 30 days. And you become a debtor with threats from, I don't know, Equity, threats from Mshwari, threats from KCB. Because you put money in a trade and it cannot come out. I have a sister who does saloning. And I just met her and she said it is really tough. She said that people are maintaining hair. You can see mine here. They are maintaining hair so well that even somebody can go 2 months without going back to the salon. And students have closed. She used to get a lot of customers who wants their children to have braids, you know, during closure. Currently, people are just maintaining their hair because life is tough. People are going for basics, you know. People are going for basics, literally. When you look at the Western zone, people are planting currently the second season, maize and beans. But the reality is that people are struggling even to get that fertilizer. And even the seeds, they are opting to go for kienyeji seeds because the money to buy all that is not available. So the reality is that Kenya is a tough country. Now there is something about Kalonzo's secret. I don't know if you have to go into it or just maybe spare it for another day. And then Roslyn Akombe, of course, striking Ruto with a ruthless blow over his arrogant compensation scheme. Let's look at that.
Welcome to
It's very long, we can't read it, but the fact that there's transitional justice, a mechanism or a process where you address legacies to past human rights abuses and mass atrocities and other forms of severe social trauma, right? So the compensation is a bit cynical and greedy. When you talk about empowerment, for example, and whatever is happening around, people laughing about things that are serious. Yeah. Let's look at this, particularly this one here. We spent 30 years studying transitional justice only to clap for a regime that creates victims. You are now tasked to compensate. This isn't visionary. It is revisionist. Celebrating a historic compensation framework for state brutality is like applauding an arsonist for donating water buckets. We didn't need these suckers. If the government respected the Constitution, upheld human rights, and kept cops off peaceful protesters, you are not sharing justice. You are sharing damage control for a regime. You know? That's a backlash that has come out after... So guys, there's a lot of bombshell, but thank you so much for coming on board. I think we need to end here so that I go back to my other channel, Edutainment for Us, and do something for us. Yep. So bye-bye for now. Let's get another one tomorrow.